Welcome back to our Steven. I'm your host, Steven. I'm here to remind you to charge your phone, and today, from a friend's daughter crossing boundaries to jealousy over a millionaire ex, we've got some wild stories full of updates, all starting with a post titled, My 43-year-old male, friend's 45-year-old male, daughter 18 or 19-year-old female keeps trying it on with me, and I don't know whether to tell him or keep ignoring it. Original post, February 17th, 2026. Throwaway for very obvious reasons. The past year or so, she started messaging me privately on Facebook and Instagram. I never post on either, just use them to watch videos of camper vans and woodworking. At first, it was innocent enough, just asking me to look at a friend's car for her and what she should get her dad for his birthday, etc. Then one night, her and her friends were out clubbing and went back to someone's house to party, and it was a bit more than they could deal with. She saw that I was online on Facebook and messaged saying she doesn't dare tell her dad where she is and can I come get them. I said yes and set off, but when I got there, she came out with her friends and said it was okay now, the people causing trouble had gone. I stayed talking to her and a friend for 10 minutes to make sure, and then left, but told her I'll stay up and if she changes her mind, ring me. I went home and made a cup of tea, and then she messaged me. It was a revealing picture of her and her friend I had just spoken to. I messaged her back and said I don't appreciate that. She apologized and said she got the wrong person. I ignored it and then don't hear from her for a couple of weeks until another Saturday night when she sent another photo and said, "This is meant for you." I ignored it and she replied the next morning saying it was a drunken dare and that she's sorry. This started a pattern where it seemed whenever she was drunk, she would send photos and then the next day, she would apologize. That was until last summer when her parents threw a barbecue. I went upstairs to use the toilet, and when I came out, she was on the landing and said that she had closed the baby gate at the bottom of the stairs so we would hear it if someone opened it. I said no and went to move past her, but she put her hands on the wall and said she's not letting me past. Eventually she did, but she found it funny, and since then she's ramped up the messages. It's not just when she's drunk, and she's offering sexual acts for lifts and fixing cars. The other week, she even turned up at my house, and I told her I'm going to speak to her dad. And she said I can't now, it's gone on too long. And she's right, I don't know what to do. I never reply anymore, but she keeps on sending them, and then if it's about fixing her car, she'll get her dad to ask me, so I can't say no. Before anyone suggests it, I don't want to sleep with her. I've known her since the day she was born. So I know it would be really awkward, and I know it sounds like a very long time friend here, but what is stopping OP from mentioning this to their friend? What does it even mean when she says, "You can't now, it's gone on too long"? Is OP seriously supposed to come out on the wrong side of this if it comes to light that for however long, OP's been turning their friend's daughter down repeatedly? Is it about the fact that OP withheld this and didn't mention it, so it creates some kind of implication that OP might have been interested? A user named KTBBY left a comment asking, "What would you want to happen if it was your daughter and a friend? Tell your buddy." The OP responded, "I'd want to know, but I'd also be incredibly suspicious he didn't tell me straight away." Another user named Playful Sandwich replied, "So why didn't you tell right away? The only out you have is to tell your friend and hope that they understand whatever your reasoning was for not saying anything sooner. But the longer you wait, the worse it'll seem." The OP responded, "Because I genuinely believed she'd sent it by mistake. Then I believed the drunk dare, but then I just thought if I ignored her, she would get bored." The OP then posted an update one day later, February 18th, 2026. "Hi everyone, thank you for your advice and kind words on my original post. I really appreciate it. Just to clear a couple of things up, first is why I didn't block her. I'll paste a comment I made. The thing is, we were close. I thought of her as a niece. I've been to every birthday party of hers since she was born. I bought her first bike. I gave her boxing lessons when she was getting bullied at school. I took her to the cinema to see Frozen. I took her to the prom on my motorbike. I went with her to buy her first car, and I've done all the maintenance on it since. I'm heartbroken it's come to this. She isn't just some random kid I could block and forget." Secondly, people asking why I picked her up and didn't immediately tell her parents. I'll copy another comment I made. I've always said to her and my nieces and nephews, if you're ever scared or in a dangerous situation and you don't dare tell your parents, ring me and I'll help and I'll keep your secrets once. When I was younger, I got into a club when I was 15 and ended up being drugged and taken back to a house. And even when I came around, I didn't dare ring my parents just in case I got in trouble for clubbing, and then things got a lot worse. I wanted her to know that if she was in danger or scared, she could rely on me. Something terrible happened to me because I was too scared of being in trouble. On to the update, I rang her dad yesterday and asked if I could see him and his wife. I got there, and I didn't beat around the bush. I just said, for nearly a year, Emily has been trying it on with me and sending me inappropriate messages and pictures, and I haven't screenshots of every message, but I deleted the pictures. There are plenty of messages from her though, referencing the pictures. I showed them everything, and the dad stopped reading after a couple of messages, but the mom read them all and then just said, it's something young women do, and we're both adults, so it's up to us what we do. I said, I don't want to do anything, I want her to stop harassing me. The mom just completely brushed it off and said that it's not harassment, it's just a young woman in heat. Made her sound like a dog, and that she was the same at that age. We sat and talked about it for a bit, and I told them why I didn't say anything, and the dad said, she was never going to give in, she's like her mom. Then they just said that they'll talk to her, but the mom told me to relax and not take it so seriously. My friend walked out to my car with me and said that he'll talk to his daughter when she's home and he's sorry, and now he knows why I've been blowing him off about doing the brakes on her car. I left feeling relieved that they knew, but a bit ticked off with the mom's reaction. Later on last night, my friend messaged me because he wanted to check her phone to see if there was other men, but as the wife said, no, as she's 19 and they had no right. Emily did message me to apologize last night, but then said she spoke to her mom and the offer's always there if I want it. Doesn't seem like anything has been achieved really, but at least it's not a secret anymore. Well, all I can really say is, at least it's known and out there for OP. It surprises me how much the mom doesn't care at all. I do almost wonder though if it is going to affect the way OP's friend sees OP. Just from the tidbits we got, I feel like the friend might be a little bit reserved and might have some quiet resentment or something build up. A user named H. Simpson left a comment saying, you did the right thing and it's out there in the open now. Probably don't want to put yourself in any situations where you're alone with her for a while and continue to ignore the texts. Right now, it's a game to her. I'm guessing things will settle down in time as she matures, and I'm hopeful it'll all blow over. The OP responded, I'm just going to block her now and keep my distance from them all. The OP then added a few more comments saying, can I just add a comment about why I never blocked her at the start? I love that kid like a niece. I was there the day she was born. I changed her nappies. I've been to every birthday party from her 1st to her 18th. I bought her first bike. I was with her at her first football game. I took her fishing. She was around 10 or 11 and we spent a full day catching no fish but having such a laugh on the riverbank and sharing cheese sandwiches and a flask of tea. I went to every single one of her ice hockey games. I took her to prom on my motorbike, not as her date, we do different things here. I went with her to buy her first car and paid half towards it. I've done all the maintenance on it since. It's so upsetting to lose the person she was. Imagine watching someone grow from a baby into a woman and then just having it all shattered. She's genuinely one of the 5 people I'd give my life for in a heartbeat without thinking. I'll be honest, I still cry every day that I've lost a niece and my friend of over 35 years. That's why I didn't block her or tell them straight away. I was hoping it was a phase and she would get through it and we could all just go back to normal with no harm done. That didn't happen, and now I've lost 2 people who meant the world to me. And in reference to whether or not the mother played a part, the OP left another comment saying, that really shocked me the most. I thought she was going to go nuclear on me as she's quite a volatile person, but instead she was so nonchalant. She was saying things like she can join the army or travel the world so she can decide who she's hooking up with. And I was trying to get across to her that's not the point. And she's not taking no for an answer and she's creeping me out. I saw her at the hospital on the day she was born. I changed her nappies. On the whole saga, a user named Counting Russell Crows left a comment saying, my daughter wants to doink a guy who's essentially her uncle? Ah well, what are you gonna do? That teenager's mom. And also, if you enjoy stories with crazy updates like these, it would do a lot of good if you could hit those like and subscribe buttons down below. Our next story is, my wife cannot get over the fact that my ex-wife is marrying a millionaire. Main post, July 23rd, 2023. Throwaway, I don't know what's gotten into my wife. When we met, I was still married to my ex-wife. I'm not proud about it, but my wife started at our job and we slept together after a party. This was around 6 years ago. My ex found out when she saw inappropriate photos on my phone. It broke her and ended our marriage. I married my wife a year later. Everything was fine and my children gradually forgave me, and much of it was thanks to my ex, who insisted that I was still their father and that I loved my children. They never liked my wife, however, because they overheard her, my daughter did, talking badly about how fat and old their mother was and how she was no competition. Now, my ex is happily engaged to a man who is very well off. My wife was depressed ever since she heard that, making comments about what he sees in her and how it wouldn't last. She has Googled everything about him, his net worth, property, social media accounts, and she doesn't stop talking about him. I got very wary, and this last week, she's been extra depressed and angry, not sleeping, and she's cried several times. When she was finally taking a nap, I took her phone and saw that she has sent the new fiancé some flirtatious texts via Instagram and even one nude. He only answered the first DMs when she introduced herself, congratulated him about the engagement, and told him that they were basically a family soon. When she was getting more flirtatious, he stopped answering and her DMs were left unseen. This was last week. The pictures. I called my ex-wife and she confirmed that my fiancé has been receiving these texts and that they were embarrassed and unsure what to do, so they ignored her. I confronted my wife and she became very angry, saying that I've embarrassed her by talking to my ex. She was crying when I told her that my ex was the one who suggested that they just ignore her and not say anything. Isn't that better for her? She admitted that she sent these, but it was just because she felt like my ex was a BITC so-and-so that didn't deserve a fiancé like hers with lots of money. My ex-wife would be living in a 19th century penthouse. She also told me that I was the one who drove her to this since she never felt she's won me completely, that I married her after my divorce was a fact. I made her insecure. I don't understand. I thought we were happy, that she was happy. She always told me how she loved me. I feel guilty like I've made her miserable and drove her to be this insecure, but at the same time, I'm very ticked. You know, by no means does OP necessarily sound like the best guy or anything, but like, I don't see how they can see what happened here and go, yeah, you know, I'm feeling responsible for some of this. Marrying your affair partner a year after it happened, you know, fair enough, it happens. But for your current wife to be so obsessed with everything going on in your ex-wife's life, to the point where when your ex-wife gets with a new man, she's willing to flirt with him and try to send him inappropriate photos and try to get with him. If I'm OP, I'm trying to figure out what is she even actually about? Like if I'm OP, I'm questioning, is this relationship even real? The OP clarified in the comments, I don't know if I need to put ages or if it's irrelevant. I'm 41, wife is 33, ex-wife is 43, and her fiancé is 40 to 45. Not sure. A user named Kitty Tigress left a comment saying, so your mistress is upset that she bet on the wrong horse and has serious regrets? I would re-examine the entire relationship once I find that she's DM'd the new fiancé with inappropriate photos. Honestly, I'd probably tell her to pack up and leave and then apologize to my ex-wife for her behavior and wish my ex well. The OP responded, she swore that she wasn't interested in him, just that she felt my ex wasn't worth what she's getting and that she, the ex, has been smug and arrogant about it, so my wife thought that she wanted to give her a wake-up call. Her words. Another user named Not Oblivious left a comment saying, I think it's very disturbing behavior that she helped to break up one marriage of this woman and tried to break up a second relationship of this woman. There is definitely deep-seated obsession and jealousy, as if she's in a competition. Bad-talking your ex is also a sign of this. I give your ex so much credit in the way she's handled your divorce and being able to help your relationship with your kids flourish. Many women in her shoes would find this very difficult, but also to have the presence of mind and the grace to ignore the same woman who helped destroy her marriage because she doesn't want to cause issues and embarrassment. Your ex is a saint, and I hope you appreciate her. Your wife needs help, and if I were you, I would really think hard if she actually is a healthy partner for you. I mean, your kids don't like her, and that's gotta be tense for you. She trash talks your ex? That's gotta be difficult to deal with. And she basically attempted to cheat on you in a sick and twisted attempt to hurt your ex. VOP responded, I know that my ex is one of the most beautiful people I've ever met, both inside and out. I don't understand why my wife hates her. She never once blamed my wife for anything, and she was really helpful in making my family and friends not to shun me and my wife. And as I said, it's thanks to her that I still have the love of my children. Another user named Braith Rose left a comment saying, this is exactly what cheating gets you. Choosing short-term validation and orgasms over real love, emotional labor, patience, and grace. Unless you realize why marrying her was a mistake, you're doomed to repeat this. Unless your only goal was to save face once you realized you took a nasty dump all over your first marriage. The reason she's turned into a banshee is because she wasn't with you out of a gape or real deep love. She was with you because it made her feel better about herself. Women who play these games will always be looking for outside sources of validation to fill the hole where their self-esteem should be. Otherwise, they wouldn't be fighting over sloppy seconds and prizes. They're called pick-me's and have warped self-esteem. They make reactionary choices for cheap validation and kibbles instead of retrospecting on what would really make them happy. Being above your first wife was really important to her, and now that fantasy bubble is popped because she found out she disgraced herself for an average guy. You made this bed. VOP responded, I admit it was to save face, marrying my wife. That's why I feel guilty now and not just outright ticked. I still love my ex, and even though I'm happy she's happy again, I regret what I did every day. I think my wife knows this. That's why I'm not as ticked as I should be. A user named Generic230 left a comment saying, your problem is that you're a poor decision maker. You won't really be able to fix any of this until you understand why you make such poor decisions because, frankly, marrying the woman you had an affair with only 1 year after your divorce tells me you didn't properly examine your motives that led to this whole mess. The OP responded, when it came out what I did, nobody wanted to have anything to do with me but for my wife who was there. So we got married. I probably wanted to save face and for it to not be meaningless, not to have cheated on someone I loved for nothing. A user named JM Flynn commented, I hope you didn't have children with this person. She's obsessed with your ex. Did they have a relationship prior to your affair? She's absolutely fixated. The OP replied, no, she only met my ex a couple of times before the affair. You think she chose me because of my ex? Because my ex was very well liked in my office amongst my closest colleagues. We don't have children. The OP then posted the final update after 2 days, July 25th, 2023. Hi everyone, this is an update about my situation. We are getting divorced. I have had multiple conversations with my wife about what she did, but unfortunately, she doesn't seem to see how bad it is what she's done. She says that she never was interested in my ex's fiance and just wanted to make a point to herself more than to anyone, and that she still believes that she could take him if she wanted. She doesn't consider what she did cheating. It was a test. She said that if she really didn't love me, she would have left a long time ago because she can get whoever she wants. I was speechless hearing her rage and cry, but I was done. We don't have children and we have very few joint assets to divide. She'll stay in the house until she can find a place to go, but then we're done. She's raging and calling me all sorts, and I guess I'm just so very tired and done now. Thanks for the wake-up call. I know I'm a crappy person, but maybe it's time for me to stop punishing myself for what I did. My wife was my constant reminder of the damage I've done, and maybe deep down I knew she was a bad person, but I felt that I didn't deserve better because I'm a bad person too. Worse even. But maybe enough is enough, and I need to just stop punishing myself. I have 2 wonderful children, so maybe I'm not just bad. For any legal advice, remember, I'm not from wherever you come from, and I'm not disclosing my identity or location, so please don't bother me with legal advice. I mean, I don't want to be too judgy or anything, but I feel like this comes off like Hot Mess Central. It feels like a reality show that you're halfway through a bucket of ice cream watching. Oh my god, did you hear they're getting a divorce? A user named Smooner left a comment saying, "Your wife's response makes me wonder if she knew your wife prior to meeting you. Kind of on the level of the show You. I worry about your ex-wife's safety with the comments regarding, I can steal him if I want to. She orchestrated your relationship from the start and was focused on destroying your wife at the time. Or she realized she gets some weird ego or power boost from stealing married men, and now she's jealous of your ex because she didn't win. I would notify your ex-wife so she can place an OFP, order for protection, just in case." The OP responded, "No, I don't think my wife ever knew my ex-wife. Her obsession started afterwards, and my guess is it's because she never got a reaction from my ex, who handled the situation maturely. Even her remarks about my ex's looks are some sort of ego boost, since everyone knows that my ex is very physically beautiful, and it hurt my wife very much to hear gossip about me trading down. I don't know if I did enough to make my wife feel better either, so her obsession may lie with me too, not only my wife. But I can't stay anymore, even if I admit that I'm not a good person." A user named Foolish left a comment saying, "I hope your ex-wife finally finds some peace from this woman. Not enough she ruined her life once, had to try again for funsies again, just to prove it to herself." The OP replied, "She's doing fine, and she's very happy with her life." A user named Quickstore left a comment saying, "Your wife seems unhinged and may try to do something with your ex and her new fiancé to prove she's better. I would give them a heads up if they need to get a restraining order. She seems slightly obsessed with hurting your ex for some reason, which is super weird." The OP replied, "They have her blocked on all social media. My wife was hysterical and demanded to know what I've told them, but I think she's just embarrassed now and wants it to go away. Also, she wants to save our marriage." A user named Nighthouse replied, "Good luck, but please don't try to get back with your ex. She deserves better. Sorry." The OP replied, "Yeah, it won't happen." Our next story is, my 38-year-old female ex-fiance ghosted me, 39-year-old male, before our wedding. It's been 16 years and now she wants to talk it over again. Should we reopen closed wounds? Original post, April 11th, 2020. I was never given an explanation. She just left and told nobody. It was literally right before our big wedding ceremony. She didn't leave a note, nothing, just left. Even her family were left baffled. She just up and left. We had dated all through high school and all through college. She eventually returned, but not to me. I had to learn via third party, her parents, that she had no intentions of coming home. She wanted nothing to do with me and told her parents to avoid having me around. I never got a choice in the matter. I respected her wishes. I never understood why she did it. My only guess was she had a mental breakdown because she cut off all contact with everyone. We were both young and still growing. I don't know, but I've struggled with it since. Out of the blue, she DMs me on Facebook after all these years and wants to meet up. I'm an influx of emotions right now. Angry, nervous, hopeful, sad. I still have feelings for her. I don't know if I could take her back, but looking at her Facebook makes me miss her. She's even better looking than she was before and single. I'm conflicted. She won't talk about anything as to why she left. She said it's best to do so in person. The only thing I can tell from her Facebook is a bunch of stuff about her being weak and living a life full of shame and regret and being lonely. This is dumb. She ghosted me and I should want nothing to do with her, but dang it, I still have feelings for her. I never stopped thinking about her. What should I do? Ghost her in return? Call her out? See where this date takes us? I just have to say, is this not like a crazy premise? I saw it pop up on the Best of Redditor Updates subreddit and I thought, how can I not read a story with that premise? And here's the thing, it's kind of like the one that got away for OP. Like imagine it's like the person you thought was perfect in your eyes, your soulmate and whatnot, and then they up and left. And now, after all these years, they're hitting you back up and You know they're single, you saw on their Facebook that they're living a life of regret and shame. If OP's feelings didn't turn to hatred or resentment, how can you not feel that second-hand spark of hope that ignited in OP's gut? One commenter wrote, "First off, dang OP, that's rough. 16 years is a long time. Would meeting up with her set you back in the time you spent getting over this? Or will it give you the closure you never found?" The OP responded, "I don't know, I just want closure. For the longest time, I thought she cheated on me, but the only things I've been told from her family and the few friends she didn't cut off, it's more like a mental breakdown. I know she was scared to death about the wedding and her looming finals and her career. She was beyond stressed. She ghosted everyone. She gradually came back, but I was never involved. I have never stopped thinking of her." The OP then posted an update April 13th, 2020, 2 days later. "Well, that was something. I got closure at least. We met at a cafe and talked outside. The first thing I noticed was how badly scarred her arms were and how much pain was in her face. Long story short, she wanted to break up long before the wedding. She was too weak and cowardly to speak up for herself. She had a complete nervous breakdown over everything. She'd been tired of being forced into doing things she never wanted to do and never having the guts to stand up for herself. She was mad at her family, pressuring her to get married and pump out kids. She was mad at them, forcing her into a degree that she didn't want. She was mad at herself for not being able to speak up. Nothing she did was justified, which we agreed on. When I first proposed to her, I did it in a public area. I had put her on the spot, and she wanted to say no, but she couldn't bear to see me hurt. She was right. I made all the choices for her. I was a very different person back then, and she was very meek, as in she just went with the flow and had no backbone. I drowned her voice out often and never gave her the chance to grow to be a person. Back then, I was often focused only on myself. Well, everything came to a climax, and she had a complete mental breakdown. She ran away from her problems at the behest of her friend and the only person in the world she ever trusted. As she said, it's the only thing she knows how to do, run. She never had the spine to speak up. Her life just spiraled downwards. She did a few years homeless after her best friend's husband kicked her to the curb. The rest of that time was spent in prison, which she didn't specify what she did. She was released about a year ago and has been turning her life around. She has a job, she's reconnected with her parents, and she's finally reconnecting with me. She never stopped trying to get in touch with me. As for our future, we have none. We both agreed to end things and go our separate ways. We both are changed, two different people. We have nothing in common and don't live near each other. She doesn't justify what she did, nor does she want to be forgiven. She thinks it's repulsive and is ashamed of her actions. I wanted to be angry, but I couldn't. I just forgave her. With that, we shook hands, said our goodbyes, and that will likely be the last time we ever see one another. It's bittersweet. I got the closure I wanted. We both did. It feels like a burden was released. I know now that we never had a future together and never will. But on the other hand, I'm sad because it's over. All these years, maybe hoping something would happen, were for naught. But in the end, this is an ending and I finally have closure. Not many get to say that. Do I believe her story? Yes, I do, and even if she's full of crap at this point, does it even matter? I've always known her to be very weak-willed, meek. She often just does what everyone tells her to do and often runs when things get too difficult. She avoids her problems because she was too weak to stand up to them. I mean, it makes sense why her family wouldn't talk to me about her. They were the typical tiger parents that disowned their problem child. All's well that ends well. Our relation has finally come to an end, and we can move on. In the comments, one commenter who was putting a lot of blame on the friend, OP responded to, "Her friend was an enabler. We all were. Her friend was the one who encouraged her to run. Of course, nobody forced her to. It was all her. If I hadn't ignored her problems, if I'd actually been a part of her life, I might have seen. It is what it is though." On the public proposal, the OP said, "The proposal shouldn't be the surprise. When it happens, should. You should know 100% before you do it, as in discussed it is what both of you want at some point. Dropping it at random does put a huge amount of pressure on the other person if they're not quite there. Truth is, she was right. I dropped the proposal in public to ensure she wouldn't say no. I was only thinking about myself. It never occurred to me that she was unhappy. It never occurred to me that she was very uncomfortable with a public proposal. And the OP, when told that his ex was bullied by a lot of people leading to the jilting, the OP replied, "I abused her. There, I said it. I neglected her needs in favor of mine and forced her into a marriage. I'm no better than her mom and dad, really. It ticks me off all of these freaking years. I never realized how freaking rotten I was." And on the whole saga, a user named C in the Nile left a comment saying, "I'm glad they both got closure, but just from the comments and what's not being mentioned, it's clear there was a lot more going on than is said in the post." But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. Now, if you want to hear some more stories chocked full of updates, why not check out that video on the left? Or if you missed my latest video, check out that video on the right. That said, I'll see you all next time with some more stories.